Right now, Hallsville residents have no full-time police officers protecting them. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Max Deeknight. The department went from functional to functionless in less than 2 months. KOMU 8's Madeline Odell spoke to the town's former police chief, and she joins us now in the studio with how this came to be.
Gabe Edwards was one of 2 full-time officers in Hallsville prior to his resignation last month. And after the departure of their final full-time officer, Drew Gordon, some residents feel like they're being left to fend for themselves.
You know, it's not going to take long for people who are wanting to commit crimes to figure out that there's nobody patrolling the street.
Hallsville resident Angela Giesler is not the only one who voiced concern after discovering her town was left without a functional police department.
I'm concerned for the safety of our children and of the elderly people in our community if there's not somebody there for that assistance.
The town's former police chief, Gabe Edwards, posted to Facebook Thursday, essentially saying the Hallsville Police Department no longer exists.
I wanted to let everybody know that probably need to be a little more vigilant and understand that you're going to be seeing a lot less police presence around here, and to look out for yourselves.
And despite the reassurance of knowing county authorities have their back,
we're lucky enough that Boone County Sheriff's Department, we have got several officers that live in our town.
In some cases, it's just not enough.
If there is an emergency where we need a police officer, you know, you're waiting for a Boone County Sheriff then to come, and who knows how far away they're going to be.
Which is why Edwards says he spoke out in the first place.
It is very much because I do care for the community here. Like I said, I've got a lot of friends and a lot of family that live here that, you know, I care for, and I don't want to see bad things happen to good people.
Detective Tom O'Sullivan from the Boone County Sheriff's Department says it's normal for county authorities to step in and help out smaller towns like Hallsville. Meanwhile, Hallsville is currently searching for a new police chief and police officers. In the studio, Madeline Odell, KOMU 8 News.
Columbia police called the body found at the Welcome Inn Hotel last night a homicide. They're not releasing the man's name pending notification of family members. Officers say he died from an apparent gunshot wound. Nearby businesses told us they've had several problems with the hotel. Employees at the Eagle Stop gas station say hotel patrons shoplift at the convenience store, and another nearby business complains of hotel guests causing other problems.
We have a scam alert for you. Ameren wants to warn customers of a utility bill phone scam. The company says it's seen more complaints than usual about fishy phone calls. Callers tell Ameren customers they need to pay up right away or their utilities will be turned off. The Better Business Bureau says this sense of urgency is a red flag. An Ameren spokesperson added the company is never pushy or threatening in situations like this. She says Ameren will work with customers struggling to pay and is already stepping up to fight the scammers.
We've joined a nationwide coalition of utilities to provide our customers with consistent messaging and tips and tricks to expose these scammers and how to better protect themselves.
Some of those tips and tricks include calling Ameren directly. You can find that phone number on our website, KOMU.com. Another way to protect yourself is always paying with a credit card. That way, your spending will be more traceable if you are, in fact, duped. We had quite a windy day today. Let's send it over to Michael to see if the cooler weather is here to stay.
Thanks, Max, and good evening, everyone. As you mentioned, very windy out there today, but of course those cooler temperatures as we take a look at our weather almanac. Notice a high of 68 degrees today, but that was reached at 7:47 this morning. We saw temperatures fall throughout the day, and right now they're actually in the 40s as we take a look at current conditions. Not a lot on satellite and radar. We are just seeing a little bit of cloud cover overnight tonight, and those are actually going to clear as we head into the morning hours. But of course, those temperatures are the big story. 42 degrees in Columbia right now, 36 up in Macon. But with those winds, it feels a lot cooler out there. It feels more like the freezing mark here in Columbia, 28 in Booneville, and 23 degrees up in Macon. And of course, that's because of those very strong winds. You can even hear them howling outside right now. 20 miles an hour out of the northwest, and those actually are going to stay strong overnight tonight as we take a look at our forecast for our weekend. Temperatures only warming up to a high of 47 degrees tomorrow. Those winds are going to calm down throughout the day, but they will still be pretty breezy for the morning hours, and by Sunday we're back up into the 50s. And we'll also take a look at that Thanksgiving forecast coming up in just a little bit.
The Missouri's Republican Party chairman is stepping down. Chairman John Hancock said today he will serve in the position until a replacement is picked in January. Missouri Republican State Committee members elected Hancock to the job just back in 2015. He served as a party leader during an election cycle that brought big wins for the GOP, including the re-election of Roy Blunt and Eric Greitens' surprise win for governor.
The Surgeon General released its first extensive report on substance abuse in America, and the results are staggering. Nearly 21 million Americans suffer from substance abuse disorder. 1 in 7 will abuse drugs, alcohol, or other narcotics during their life. But unlike other diseases such as cancer or diabetes, only 1 in 10 users get treatment. Last year in Boone County, 967 people sought help. A prevention specialist at the Phoenix Health Group says Mid-Missouri is facing a drug epidemic.
If we were to line people up and allow 1 yard for every person, the number of people standing in a line who need treatment in Boone County would stretch from Farrell Field all the way up Stadium Boulevard, out past the interstate, past Cosmos Park.
In 2014, 50,000 Americans died from drug overdoses, much more than the roughly 30,000 deaths in car crashes. Missouri is the only state in the nation without a prescription drug monitoring database. It's National Get Smart About Antibiotics Week. The CDC wants you to know how to properly use them. Misuse of antibiotics causes bacteria to adapt, making them harder to kill. The CDC says up to 50% of antibiotics prescribed by doctors are either not needed, used improperly, or aren't taken for the correct length of time.
If the physician wrote a prescription for a 7-day treatment of antibiotics, and you take 3 days and you start to feel better, a lot of times people think, well, I'm better, so I'll quit taking them. But truly, you should continue that full course of antibiotics to fully kill the bacteria.
According to the CDC, more than 2 million people get antibiotic-resistant infections each year, and at least 23,000 people die from them. For more ways to prevent infections, you can visit our website at KOMU.com.
Here's what's happening right now. The homeless are getting an opportunity to share their stories in Columbia tonight. Shannon Shaver is live at First Christian Church in Columbia to tell us how they're doing it. Shannon?
Performers have just finished packing up after their first showing of Street Stories, Glimpses of Homelessness. It's a play to highlight some of the experiences of people who don't have a permanent home place or permanent place to call home. The Columbia Interfaith Resource Center sponsors the event, which was created last year. A co-director of the play told me why she thinks the homeless enjoy participating in the show.
I think that they love having a voice, having a way to express their point of view, because that's just rare for them to be asked for their opinion.
There are 2 more performances of the play, tomorrow at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. All proceeds from the event go to local homeless shelters. Reporting live in Columbia, Shannon Shaver, KOMU 8 News.
Tonight, Mid-Missouri learned about the dangers of human trafficking from someone who was once a victim. Jessica Neely, a former adult film star, spoke about her experiences in the industry tonight. It was part of a 5-day series from the Central Missouri Stop Human Trafficking Coalition. She says teaching people about her experiences is necessary to stop the problem.
I believe in what this movement is. I believe parents are listening. Kids are eating this up. Kids are like, wow, she's speaking our language and she's stepping inside of our world.
Neely speaks all over the nation about human trafficking and the industry that it produces, with a main focus on bettering parent-child relationships.
A community program that started in Joplin in 2010 to help kids is now the largest of its kind in the country. Bright Futures gives community members a chance to make a difference in the lives of students. Their Lunch Buddy program pairs an adult with a student to eat lunch together every other week. Teachers recommend students who might need extra emotional support.
All the things about our kids and their particular situation is improving in regards to attendance and, you know, nurses visits, like I said before, and grades and enthusiasm, and you know, they just begin to realize their potential, and I think that helps Mexico also realize what our potential is.
Audrain County now has about 200 Lunch Buddy volunteers each week.
President-elect Donald Trump pays millions to get out of a court trial.
And the death toll keeps climbing from northern Syrian airstrikes. The rescue of a little boy offers a glimpse of hope.